I thank my noble friend Lord Nash for providing the opportunity for this House to draw attention to the contribution free schools have made to improving educational standards. Providing an excellent education for all children, ensuring that no child, regardless of their background, is left behind, has been a key driver of educational reform by successive governments in this country. And free schools have made a significant contribution to this. I pay tribute to my noble friend's long-term and tireless commitment to creating opportunity in education, and I have personally witnessed this since 2006, and I'm sure that it goes back even further. We know that education can provide a pivotal impact on a child's life chances and opportunities. Official statistics, for example, show that 52% of male offenders and 72% of female offenders have no qualifications whatsoever. A third of young people who have been excluded from school have been involved with drug dealing, as well as being exposed to growing trends of knife crime. Fewer than half of those with no qualifications were in employment, compared to 8 in 10 of those with at least one qualification. Educational failure perpetuates the cycle of disadvantage, preventing generation after generation from reaching their full potential. When I was the Executive Director of the Centre for Social Justice, we documented the impact of this failure of education in our groundbreaking report, Breakdown Britain. We identified significant educational inequality, which showed that emphasising average attainment was masking very real failures at the bottom of the system, where disadvantaged children were falling further and further behind. In 2006, children from disadvantaged backgrounds were 5 times more likely to fail academically than their peers. Most importantly, pupils from disadvantaged backgrounds were often not being given the opportunity to succeed, as evidence showed that schools with high numbers of pupils on free school meals were more likely to be considered underperforming by Ofsted. The budget uplift in education in the 10 years prior to 2006 was not helping those from disadvantaged backgrounds work their way to a brighter future, and 30,000 children were leaving school with no qualifications or skills and were not attending schools that were good enough to give them the chance to change that. In the recommendations to tackle this, which were included in the follow-up report Breakthrough Britain, we advocated pioneer schools which were inspired by the successful US charter schools. The pioneer school recommendation was deeply influenced by my noble friend Lord O'Shaughnessy's report, More Good School Places. The aim was to provide innovative solutions to deeply entrenched educational failure by setting up new schools led in a way that gave them the flexibility to make the best decisions for children in their local area. Since then, the rollout of free schools has dramatically increased the number of available school places, particularly in the most deprived areas of the country, improving the life chances of a large number of children. Nearly half of the schools that have opened are in the most deprived areas of this country, as we have already heard. The schools that have opened provide 290,000 school places, overwhelmingly in areas where more school places were needed. There are 266 schools approved to open, which will add further to this capacity. There are often genuine life opportunities for children to fulfil their potential and flourish in a good school. Free schools have an excellent Ofsted rating, as we have heard, with 86% rated good or outstanding, and many are among the best performing schools in the country. Unsurprisingly, they have been incredibly popular with parents and attract more first preference applications than any other type of school. Free schools have ensured that more and more children have a chance to succeed, and they are the highest performers at Progress 8, and results are above the national average at GCSE and A-level. The mission to close the gap between disadvantaged pupils and their peers is ongoing, but the gap is closing. The figures in the Disadvantaged Gap Index show that this gap has shrunk by 13% since 2011. Since we wrote the Breakdown Britain report, the gap in some areas has shrunk by as much as 30% in Key Stage 2. Disadvantaged pupils do better at free schools than at any other type of school, and schools often have the freedom to help address some of the complex social challenges unique to their locality. For example, in areas with high child poverty and youth crime, schools have been able to extend the school day in order to provide a safe place for further learning and extracurricular activities. For every single one of these statistics, there's a child who's been given the opportunity to thrive. However, there's still more to do to make sure that this gap continues to close and to ensure that children from disadvantaged groups continue to get the access to a quality education. And for that reason, I would like to ask my noble friend, the Minister, to comment on the plans that he has for ensuring that more disadvantaged children can benefit from free schools. More pupils are now in good schools than in 2010, but there are still 1 million children attending struggling schools who deserve the opportunity to fulfil their potential too. As more free schools open over the coming years, government should be ensuring that all children, especially the most disadvantaged, are able to take advantage of the opportunities they present. Thank you.